We are always hearing about how we need universal background checks, how background checks always work, keep guns out of the hands of the people who aren't supposed to have them, etc., 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 as if it's a perfect system. We know from some of those mass casualty events where folks were known by law enforcement or the FBI or whoever else that that's not necessarily how it works if you don't actually put the information into the NICS database. But that's beside the point. At least for this story. This story instead concerns how somehow a man who had been in the country illegally for more than 15 years was just raided by the ATF for illegal guns. Guns he had somehow gotten through FFLs and the background check system. Not really sure how that works. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This one was sent to me by a viewer over the weekend and it's an interesting one for, I think, a few different reasons, so let's just jump right in. Earlier this year, the ATF investigated Carlos Serrano Restrepo, age 46, and conducted surveillance on him after he, quote, completed a purchase for at least 22 firearms. Not sure why it says at least, but it's also not entirely clear from these news reports over what kind of time period these 22 guns had happened. But, and I don't know why this isn't in any of the actual news reports, but according to the affidavit, they all happened on the same day, January 10th. That in and of itself is pretty big, but that's not all. According to the criminal complaint, between the dates of March 23rd and January 10th, 2024, Restrepo traveled to an Ohio FFL located within the Northern District of Ohio. While at the FFL, he conducted approximately 11 retail transactions for the purchase of approximately 161 firearms. I'm sorry, what? That's an average of 14 guns and change at every visit for 11 months. I mean, if you want to get the ATF's attention, that's how you get the ATF's attention. Like, holy shit. So of course, my first thought here, I think the obvious question is where is this money coming from, and how does this guy have that much cash? I have my suspicions, but I will not make any accusations here so that no one can accuse me of defamation or libel. But to me, with the rest of the details I'm going to tell you in a moment, it at least sets up the stage for maybe some financial activities involving cleaning. Now, according to reports, he owns a fire and flood remediation business. That is still a mystery, but it's pretty unlikely that the math adds up. ATF 8-ball, tell me how that works. Not legal, but not illegal. That's actually really coincidental. But before I get into the rest of the details, I would like to tell you all about a really cool service in the gun and ammo world. Ammo Squared helps you stay stocked up on ammo automatically with a set it and forget it approach that lets you pick your calibers, your monthly budget, and how often you want it shipped so you never have to worry about ammo shortages or changing prices locally or online ever again. Or making 11 transactions at an FFL with 161 ammo orders or something. ATF doesn't like that. Their company is designed to help gun owners stock up on ammo on literally any budget. This monthly budget can be anything from the price of a few boxes to the price of a single round if that's how much you can spare. Even the price of 161 firearms. If you've got that kind of cash, it is fully customizable. There's no minimum to buy, no membership fees, and all ammo is factory new from brands that you trust. They only ship it when you want it, and the rest of the time it is stored for you in a climate-controlled environment. So, thank you to Ammo Squared for providing such a cool service to gun owners since 2015. Now, on top of this 22 gun purchase and the rest of the 161, we all know the 4473. it has very specific questions about being an illegal alien. For question 20, asking for an admission number if you're an alien, he left it blank. Questions 21K, are you an alien illegally or unlawfully in the United States? He answered no, which, okay, who's going to admit doing something illegal? But this is a federal form about to trigger a federal background check with the FBI. He answered no to the question asking if he was an alien admitted under a non-immigrant visa, and the question asking if, as an alien, he fell into the exceptions, he left blank. So basically, he claimed to be a citizen, when in fact, he was not. But somehow, this guy passed every background check on 161 guns. I'm really not sure how that works because was he even in the system? Nothing flagged him as a non-citizen or any of the other details I'm going to get to. Did the government just let this happen for almost a year for shits and giggles? According to reports, he admitted to last entering the U.S. illegally in 2008. He lived in Arizona for several years and then moved to Ohio in 2022. Maybe you could argue he didn't understand the question or somehow didn't realize his status. But his 2023 Ohio driver's license application does say he is a temporary non-citizen with an employment authorization card as one of his proofs of ID. According to the ATF and DHS, this is a non-status granting immigration benefit. He filled out more forms of the BMV in June, where he checked off boxes for permanent resident, non-citizen, and temporary resident. He wrote Colombia as his country of citizenship and provided a copy of a form which explicitly stated it did not grant immigrant status or benefits. So, it appears he just flat out lied on the 4473, which we know from Hunter Biden that you can do, though he's not being charged with that. They indicted him only for possession of a firearm by an alien unlawfully in the U.S. based on that 22 gun purchase. Then they raided his house and found over 170 guns. The laundry list. I didn't do that on purpose when I wrote this. The laundry list is pretty random and impressive. A lot of revolvers, there was a Derringer in there, even a 50 cal Barrett. They also seized tens of thousands of rounds of ammo and some smoke and marine markers. According to photos, he kept most of them properly stored in safes with a few mounted in holsters on a closet wall. Serrano Restrepo claimed that some of the guns had been purchased for self-defense, the rest for collecting, and his lawyer filed a motion to dismiss the case based on Second Amendment rights. Based on how they were displayed and the randomness of what he had, I am inclined to believe it was, in fact, a collection, possibly for the purchase of cleaning some financials, though again, the financial aspect is questionable. I will not make any accusations here. The judge denied this motion, saying that historical tradition is in line with disarming immigrants who have not sworn loyalty to the country, and these documents provide even more interesting details. Now, these are the ones that, again, I wonder how some of this was not flagged in a system anywhere. It turns out that not only did he enter illegally in 2008, but it was after he applied legally and was denied entry on March 31st, 2008. There is, of course, no record of his re-entry because he did it under the cover of darkness, but he claims it was about 2 weeks later on April 17th. In July that same year, he was able to apply for an individual taxpayer ID number, or TIN, which can be used both for businesses and non-residents who need to report income. So the dude did pay taxes. In 2017, he started his business with a partner and in 2021 bought out his partner's share to become full owner. He bought a house in Ohio in 2022, moved and applied for asylum. The DHS told him he could stay in the U.S. until his asylum application was decided. Then, in 2023, DHS informed him his application was actually considered prohibited because it was filed more than 1 year after his last arrival, and he was offered a meeting to justify his late application. Then they approved his work application through March 2025, and the Social Security office gave him a Social Security number. Then, things get weirder. Court documents allege he first bought 2 rifles online, had them shipped to an FFL, but wasn't able to pick them up because his driver's license was from Washington State, even though he lived in Arizona and then Ohio. But he somehow still completed the transfer and brought them home. And he also claimed to be, again, a citizen on that paperwork. So he was denied asylum, and then his second application he was told was prohibited. He was denied firearms, had a weird random state driver's license, and then yet somehow cleared all of the background checks after this. Now, the court documents say that he simultaneously was able to complete that transfer and bring the rifles home, but also that he was denied the guns. And then that's what made him go and get an Ohio driver's license. So I'm not sure how that works either, but that's what the court documents say. So then he went back and bought 13 more guns direct from the FFL. Again, all at one time, though the ATF didn't seem to catch wind of it until several months later. So not only did this man lie on the 4473s, but both the NICS and ATF failed to catch it for almost a year, which means that in this case, both systems failed. Meanwhile, someone gets a date wrong or accidentally drops a digit, and they get their balls nailed to the wall, or heaven forbid, the ATF decides they have too many guns or is engaged in the business, and they get shot. But this man was able to collect over 171 guns illegally from FFLs over less than a year, and this is what happens. I'm very confused as to how this all played out. At the very least, I think we can take this as more evidence that the ATF is terrible at their job and needs to go. I mean, maybe if he had turned around and tried to sell them at a table at a gun show, things would have gone different. Now, I am not by any means saying that this guy needed to be bombarded by the ATF in a full, SWAT raid and shot at by any means. I don't think the ATF should be doing that to anybody. But I am wondering what the qualifiers here are between, the airline exec, any of the FFLs that have been destroyed over simple clerical errors over the last 4 years, versus this guy. Not really sure how that happens. But those are the facts as we have them right now. Maybe more will come out if this goes to some kind of trial or if an appeal is made or something. Very curious as to how this will all play out. I'll follow it if they update the case anywhere. In the meantime, you guys know the drill for all of the algorithm things. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there, guys, and happy shooting.